lady, she's also done a lot of research and written book. She spoke on the Vritam, especially Ekadashi. She came to the Ekadashi, few days back we are discussing. Coming to Ekadashi means what happens in your body, in your mind, and spiritual. She is more of connected with the Aham Brahmasmi, that kind of approach. And it was simply fantastic for me.
Good.
It is not in this Veda group of RBI layout. It is a Veda group of Nada Veda. That is Vasan's guru is there, no?
Yeah.
That area. And he conducts one program like this, international program, a month on this kind of topics. And whenever the great day is there, yesterday was Purnima, right? The day before yesterday. And night. Yeah. So during this time he invites special people who are very related to that field. Then he summarizes. It's very interesting. Maybe next time I can share. Because out of 10 programs, 5 are really fantastic. All great people talk with their experience. All are practitioners again in their own area.
Good. No problem. Can join. Okay. Good morning, Padma Shri.
Morning, Vilas.
Morning, Padma Shri.
Morning, Lata.
Okay, so
I didn't realize that you have joined also.
yeah. I saw her joining, and Bhatt was explaining, so it was nice. Okay, so let's continue our journey on the Sadhana Chatustaya. And we spoke about Vairagya, and also the Viveka here is that something which is unreal has to be removed. So there are 3 things which are unreal. One is the name, what you give for an object. One, the object itself is unreal. And the third one is if something is moving, it is unreal. If you see anything moving, it is unreal. So consciousness doesn't move anywhere. The consciousness doesn't have any name, and it doesn't have any form. So if we are objectifying, conceptualizing, or anything like that, it means it's not true. So neti can be applied on that. So then you get the Viveka. So yesterday I met one group of people, and one of them was asking me what is Vyakta and why it is called Vyakti. So what is established is Vyakti. So if somebody is, if I say somebody exists, then it is Vyakta. Originally it is Avyakta, that is, it's not established. So from Vyakta, somebody goes to Avyakta. So if, as an example, if a couple and they have, that woman has conceived and today is the first day, that has become Vyakta. Okay, but that lady doesn't know that it is Vyakta. After say around 45 days, she approaches or she buys this pregnancy kit and sees that she's pregnant. So it has become Vyakta. Now she is very happy that child is there, and she takes care, and then the child comes out. Again it is Vyakta, but whatever is Vyakta on day 1 will have to end, because it has to go back to Avyakta. So this first day of conceiving to the last day of breath of that is in Vyakta state, and the person is called Vyakti, which is unreal. So if we have that Viveka all the time, that whatever we are seeing it as moving is unreal, whatever named, given a label, including sunrise and sunset and earth and moon and stars and all that funny things what we have named is unreal. And then the form, circular form or square or length and breadth and height and weight and all that is unreal, because it's all part of Vyakta. whereas the consciousness or Brahman is avyakta. So if you are behind vyakta as vyakti, that person will die. If you are behind avyakta, understanding that everything is avyakta, then you will not die. You have got into that Mrityunjaya. So this is about Viveka. Then comes on the Shama. In the Shama, what we need to do is to, using the same Viveka, that is something having the name and something having the form and something moving, we need to apply this formula and cut the senses moving towards the sense object, because all sense object moves. There is not even one sense object you can say doesn't move. Let us say my son, he moves. And if I take my wife, she moves. And everything around moves. So it is Maya. So whatever is moving is Maya. And whatever named is Maya. So if there is a name given to the child, it's 100% Maya. There is no reality in that. And somebody is given a title as a son or daughter or whatever it is, again it is Maya. So what I can do is I can cut the senses moving out into the sense object, and that is called Shama. What's the thing, what happens with this is, you will instantly experience avyakta state. And you are very closer to reaching the goal. So for that you require Dhamma. The mind starts to move and you have to bring it back to the zero position, which is back to the senses. So you have to see the defects of the object. That is, every object goes through reduction and also goes through destruction. And we have seen so many people dying in front of us, and we have seen our own loved ones being dead. Now, by applying Viveka, Vairagya, Shama and Dhamma, that day what Padma Shri was saying is that if somebody is hospitalized, will I see somebody as same as my own and all that? That question never arises, because there is complete Shama and Dhamma, and you know that whatever named object is unreal, the form is unreal, and then the movement itself is unreal. It is dependent on the prana. So there are three things what we need to know, apart from the other three things what I said. One is that the clarified or the purest form of kapha is prana, is ojas, and the purest form of pitta is tejas, and the purest form of vayu is prana. But these three are part of prakriti, they are not part of purusha. So as age picks up, the prana, the tejas and the ojas keeps on reducing, they don't grow. So what was a child 10 years ago, as a 10-year-old, that strength and that skin texture and all of that wouldn't be at the age of 20, certainly not at the age of 40, and certainly not at the age of 60, because the prana is gone and the tejas is gone and the ojas is also gone. So all the three are removed. So because there is movement, all of these gets removed. If there was no movement, then they wouldn't have got removed. So definitely, if I identify anything at all, that is going to go for destruction. So in that particular case, if I have experienced that very close to reality or Brahman, then I wouldn't have in my mind anything called as this and that. Meaning they are mine and that other people are somebody else. That wouldn't come into picture. So I will still do what I am supposed to do for this person or that person, because everything is consciousness only. And I have seen that there is no naming. no name as my mother or my father or my son or daughter or whatever that combinations are. And I have ensured through Shama and Dhamma that I don't name them in the mind. Just as a Vyavaharika, as a transaction, it's a transactional world, so I need to name something, but internally I have not named anything. So if these four are done properly, then Uparati happens automatically, wherein the thoughts get freed up from the sense object. So first time ever you see or experience yourself what is self-withdrawal means. So you are so happy that none of the external environment is in any way affecting you. So if somebody is suffering, you are going to help him to relieve him from suffering, but you are not going to get your own suffering for that person's suffering. Or if somebody is, let's say, got a job or lost a job, or somebody has done their masters and they got Nobel Prize, or they didn't get anything at all, you have nothing to do with that. And that is the very first time you will experience what a peace means. So that is the reason Shankara calls it as Shad Sampatti. 6. There are no other Sampatti at all other than this 6. So Shama, Dhamma, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha and Samadhana are the 6 ones which are very important. There is no other Sampatti. No matter how much I have earned or have a bank balance or whatever, it doesn't really matter. So this Uparati is automatic. So if I have Vairagya, like we spoke long on that topic, Viveka happens. So anything that is moving, anything that has a name, anything that has a form, I am able to immediately check the mind and say that this is unreal. And only because Brahman is the only reality. There is no other reality other than Brahman. Brahman Satya Jagat Mithya is what Viveka is all about. If anything moves other than Brahman, and Brahman doesn't move, so that means if it is moving, means it is Vyakta, is Vyakti. So it is false. So when I do that, the Shama, Dhamma, Uparati establishes, and Uparati is the first time feeling that you have experienced what is peace. And since we are transacting, there is always a pain, and that pain you are going to endure, which is titiksha. Okay, so you have to endure the pain of ill health or of health or fitness or this or that, or the videos or the TV or the people talking or people gossiping and eating and sleeping, and all of these are pains. Nothing anybody can do. And the worst ever pain is hunger and thirst. So you have to endure, or one has to endure without any anxiety or any lamentation or seeking revenge on the objects which have brought it up in that way. So if we are able to apply Shama, Dhamma, Uparati, Titiksha, these 4 ones, you will, for the very first time, because of Uparati, like you have found peace, you will get Shraddha. So a complete faith. Not mixed faith with bhakti or devotion or whatever it is. It's just Shraddha. There's no bhakti here. And we have also spoken enough on bhakti and all of that, so there's no point in going into it. But this is complete faith because you have seen peace or you have experienced peace. Okay, so you get Shraddha. Because there is Shraddha, there is Samadhana. That is, the intellect doesn't want anything else now. No objects, no people, no relationships, and nothing is required. That means it becomes conditionless. Because there is Samadhana, you will not want to stay for long as a person, as a Vyakti. and you're looking forward for that body destruction at the earliest. It's not suicide, but you have no liking to continue. You just continue because there's nothing else to do. Because you have earnestly taken care of liberation. And when you achieve this, that is the Sadhana Chatustaya, the day you achieve it, or the day we all achieve it, let's say, first you will experience Satchidananda Swarupam Shivoham Shivoham. That you will experience the most profound thing ever you have experienced in your life. You would experience that. And how that would be is like Shiva is something auspicious. There's nothing more auspicious than Shiva. And you become that. Because you have for the very first time frozen the Chitta. And you are directly in touch with Chitta. And because you have established, or the mind has established in Satchidananda, you will experience what is called as Aham Brahmasmi. Now, all along you were part of Brahmanda. That means you came from that Brahmanda. Now you know that you are indeed that Brahmanda. It's a huge difference what you would experience between you are from Brahmanda to you yourself is Brahmanda. So that's a conscious experience, wherein there are no names and forms, there are no shapes, there are no structure, there is no concept, there is nothing else except for just consciousness. So when we see this sampatti and we compare any sampatti of any son or daughter or wife or home or bank balance or career or whatever those stupid things which we've been doing, we'll immediately end it right here, right now, because it makes no sense. So what I feel is that we can only wish that this turn out to be a reality for all of us in however we want to implement it. Now the question comes in implementation. Some can go by devotion, some can go by bhakti, some can go by jnana, some can go by whatever intellectualization they are doing, or the process or the methodology or whatever they are following. It's okay. But one needs to establish this, without which moving forward is difficult. That's all we can say, because that's what Advaita is all about. Without this, nobody can experience Advaita. So unfortunately, we have to stay back in Dvaita. Whether we like that Dvaita concept or not, it's okay. And pray to God that one day let that wisdom dawn on me to see the Advaita. So I end this whole thing and we can go back to our 15th chapter. Any questions?
Yeah, this was a rapid fire round.
Yeah, otherwise I thought that I am being rude to some extent, then trying to push. Instead of that, I thought this is the best way. Just give the information and the people can choose what they want.
Okay, good. Yeah, we have covered this before also in much more detail.
Yeah, we've covered it in detail. The thing is that the problem what we have, we are not convinced ourselves, and we are looking at multiple paths, and we have doubt on what is going to take us where. So in that, this Sadhana Chatustaya is not going to work. But then each person has to find it out for himself or herself and see what best works. Now
Yeah, that is true.
so today morning I got to understand when I was walking the difference between Buddha teaching and difference between Upanishad and Vedic teaching. In the Upanishad and Vedic teaching, they don't give you a step-by-step approach for a reason, because everybody mindset is different. Okay, so even in Shankara, if I were to go from understanding the Viveka Chudamani, my understanding of Viveka Chudamani would be different, totally different than what other person would read and try to implement the same text, because there are no steps there. So he can choose whatever he or she wants. But if I come to Buddha teaching, the major problem is that I have to accept to the steps what is provided. If my mind is not geared for that, or the mind is not tuned for that, I might not get anything out of what is being said there. So either I will start to hate, or I start to doubt that this path is not the right path. It also depends on the tradition from which I am coming. So there is already a coloration, and then I am not willing to let go of the coloration. So there are three paths which are there with us. One is the Shankara's path, which will give you a non-dualistic way, and it will show for sure what is Brahman. This is the first assured path. If we were to take the Hindu philosophies, this is a real assured path. There is no other assured path than Shankara's philosophy. Madhva doesn't have an assurance, and the Ramanuja doesn't have an assurance. The assurance is given by Sri Hari. So there is an agent who would help you. The path, the philosophy by itself doesn't help. So the only assured path in Hindu philosophy is Shankara. Then we have Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which again has an assured path to an extent of self-realization, but not liberation. So if you take liberation as the goal, then Patanjali Yoga Sutra will fall short of it. It will not help. It will only give you self-realization. Liberation, you have to go through somebody else, which is Shankara. If we only take Hindu philosophy. Now, if you go beyond the Hindu philosophy, there are two philosophies which really take you to liberation. One is the Buddha teaching, and one is the Mahavira teaching. Both will liberate you in two different ways. Okay. Now, if I am from a Buddhist culture, better to follow Buddha teaching rather than coming into Advaita. If I am into a Hindu or whatever I call Sanatana Dharma, or whatever from whichever tradition I have come into it, better to follow Shankara, because that literally leads to liberation. Okay, and then if I am from a Jain tradition, and it's no better to follow Buddha or Shankara, it's better to follow Mahavira. It really liberates. So now we have 3 of the 4 assured path for liberation, provided we have set that as a goal of liberation. And since Bhagavad Gita talks about liberation, Shankaracharya has extensively used Bhagavad Gita for the liberation, and hence he said it is the Prasthanatraya. He cannot leave the rest. So you have to go through the 10 Upanishad, you have to go through Bhagavad Gita in depth, and then you have to go to Brahma Sutras to experience what is Brahman. He is perfectly right, and that leads to liberation. All the 3 are required, not only one of them. That would be a misinformation, but the condensed form of all the 3 is in Viveka Chudamani. So if one can experience what is mentioned in Viveka Chudamani, because it covers all the topics, including what it would be after liberation also, that is also covered. So in 4 volumes this is covered. So the 4th volume talks about what is the state of a person who is liberated, which is the Sita Prajna in the case of Bhagavad Gita. And Shankara beautifully explains what is your state of the mind, and one can see it for himself or herself. But if the person is intellectual, going beyond the second itself, it's very difficult. So for when we are talking from a very intellectual standpoint, I think doing only first volume is good enough, because we have so much of cleaning to do. Second volume makes no sense. Third volume is impossible. Fourth volume, not to really go. So we can choose Viveka Chudamani for liberation instead of reading Dashopanishad and Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Sutras. I can only read this much, that is Viveka Chudamani, and complement it with Aparoksha Anubhuti or Tattva Bodha or Atma Bodha or whatever other small books what Shankara has written, and be done with it. I'll get liberated. Yeah, Lata, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. So no, the main thing is you need to have that faith or belief that one particular thing is going to work.
Yes.
And only unless and until that belief comes very, very strongly and you feel that it is really the truth, only then you will start putting the real 100% effort.
Yes, otherwise we will be shopping.
Otherwise you will be half-hearted.
Not only half-hearted.
Because I was thinking about myself, how I was for many years. And I was seeing many things and I was wondering whether it work or not work, and so on. The turning point happened for me when we went through the Aparoksha Anubhuti. I think I should thank Padmasri for it. That was the turning point. I still remember. Then I started really believing, okay, all this is possible. And so Viveka Chudamani, I read the first 3 chapters. 4th chapter I never read, because it is explaining what a liberated person would be, because I am not there, so I thought I wouldn't understand it. So I have not read that. So only from that time onwards, I have started really believing in, there is a possibility to reach there, and this is a path we can take. So now afterwards, I have been thinking about how to implement it. So that is something, I think, whatever you have told something and something whatever I have read or heard from someone, I'm mixing up everything and then trying to do it. So, but I think the first thing is that a complete faith, 100% faith is needed.
Yes.
Then only everything else will fall in place. That is my experience. Meaning, at least you will start in the real honestness that some practice you will start.
Yeah, so we are, as per me, we are yet to fix the tool. We are evaluating all the tools, and we are very happy with the tools. So the easiest of the tool, where we don't have to break our head, is Sadhana Chatustaya. And the most condensed version of Vairagya is Bhaja Govindam, or its original name is Moha Mudgara. It is not Bhaja Govindam, but it is actually named because of the Bhaja Govindam in every stanza being there. But it is Moha Mudgara, and it will really remove the Moha, and it will show what is Mudgara there. So Dwadasha Manjari Stotra is what Shankara spoke about. So that is the most condensed. That means if somebody were to understand and implement what is there in 33 verses of Moha Mudgara, then he has not only established Vairagya, he has also established, or he or she has established, Viveka as well. Viveka and Vairagya are the 2 key elements which will get you the Shad Sampatti from Shama, Dhamma, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana, all that.
So I think the first thing we have to establish is Vairagya. If the Vairagya is established, all others will come automatically.
Absolutely. Just like if
And if you are not able to establish Vairagya, then understand what is Viveka. If you are not able to understand that, then you go to Shamadama and all that.
No, it will not work, Lata. If you cannot forcefully implement Shama and Dhamma, Uparati, Titiksha and all that. You try it out, you will find that you cannot, because the senses will go behind sense object, and the more you try pulling the sense object, the worse it gets, because there is no Vairagya.
Okay.
If Vairagya is there, automatically it will cut short of it. See, now if I see the woman who is coming here as my wife, no matter how many times intellectually I'll say she is not my wife. This is what Padma Shri was explaining the other day, which she is very right, that she's frustrated about this, because no matter how much intellectually a person can think, it is not going to do any difference, because I'm going to ultimately name her as my wife. And it becomes my wife. It is not somebody's wife. It is my wife. So now that's a problem. So unless I have Vairagya, the woman who comes and stands next to me, I don't care who she is. She is a human being, perfect, but is a Vyakta. I'll come back to Vyakta. That it's established. Consciousness is established in 5 elements. So what is going to happen is, when the time comes for this consciousness to move out, the 5 elements will stay wherever it is, and this body will fall down. That's all is going to happen. So how to understand this is then, I'm just trying to see why Shankaracharya explained each of this separately. So then it is like, if you have Vairagya and Viveka, then this wealth, 6 wealth you will get. That's Yes, that is correct. With these 2, you will get the 6 wealth. These are the only wealth.
Okay.
Shad Sampatti, this is the only wealth what you can carry. Nothing else from this planet you can carry.
Okay.
So this is the thing. So Viveka, Vairagya, Shad Sampatti and earnest desire for liberation, which is Mumukshvatva. These are the only 4 foundation pillars on which you can comfortably stand, which is stable, Dhruva, and also it is secure, Suraksha. Everything else is Asuraksha, that is insecure, and Adhruva, which is unstable. There is no stability in any son, any daughter, any wife, any home, any furniture, any bank account, any career, anything at all. There is absolutely no security, no stability. And all the concepts what we have created are just to fool ourselves on security and the stability. So we have created job for stability, and we have created insurance and salaries for security. And both are mistaken identities. And also we have created relationships like wife and son and daughter and this and that, which is again most unstable way of looking at things, but initially it gives that stability that somebody is there at home. And again, for that we have called it as a family, which makes it secure. That all that is a concept. So if something moves, that is, if this I is moving, it is false. And this wife is moving is false, and the son is moving is also false. There are 3 false things right now, right here. And I'm naming it as a wife and son and Vilas. All the 3 are false. And all the 3 have form, that is also false. Because every few hours we are eating something. That means it is an exhaustion of whatever has been eaten. So the form is false. If we get these two, this one correctly, then Vairagya will become very strong. And with Viveka and Vairagya, the Shat Sampatti is going to be perfected. So now you have left with only Mumukshatattva. So you want to end the journey. Yeah, Lata, you wanted to say something?
No. I'm just listening. Yes.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay. Bhatt and Padmashri, anything you want to add, or shall we go to the next verse?
Can go to the
Yeah, but sorry.
No. In this for Jnana Prapti, we have mentioned that Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadhi Sampat, and Mumukshatva. So in that, what exactly in the Shamadhi Sampat, Shat Shamadhi Sampat, in that Shraddha is there. Shraddha means, is it whatever the Shankaracharya's teaching, in this case, Jnana Marga? So completely following that, or it is something different? Because it says somewhere, I heard, Guru Shastra, whatever Guru has taught, on that you should have Shraddha.
Yes, Guru Shankara.
Okay.
So you have experience whatever he has said in Viveka Chudamani, the first volume, you have experienced it, so you have Shraddha.
So the Shama means a peace of mind, that our mind should be very calm. Dhamma means control on our that indriyas.
Correct.
Uparati means this transaction world. We should be out of that.
Yes, so you'll have peace. For the very first time you'll experience peace.
Means when you are doing these all transactions, we'll have what you call somebody appreciating us, somebody cursing us and all that. But we should not care about that.
Correct.
Isn't it?
Correct.
And Shraddha means whatever the teaching of the Guru, in this case either Buddha or Shankara, and fully you have understanding of that through the Shraddha practice, and then Samadhana, last one, the Ekagrata.
Yes.
Now you are ready for the next one, that is Mumukshatva.
Correct. So you will immediately experience Satchidananda Swarupam Shivoham Shivoham.
Yeah.
With Samadhana. Then you will immediately experience Aham Brahmasmi.
See, we are talking everywhere in this Patanjali also. Step by step, and you are reaching somewhere. If you don't practice somewhere, again you will come back to zero. That is what something is not convincing to me. It's like, when you are trying to understand something, you understand here beginning till the end something, okay, some percentage, and it will slowly increase, and overall you will fully understand. Similarly, why you should go back? Whatever you have learned, it is already there within you. You have been practicing, you are doing it. Step by step means after first step is over, it's a flow chart. Next step you will enter and you will finish it. And similarly, you go to so many steps. When you reach, say, 8th step, if you are not perfect there, I don't think you'll come back to zero. You will come back to maybe 7th step. But this is where I think in so many places we have discussed. Is it really true?
No, it is not like that. It is, if we take lives, okay, many lives to lead, then what happens here is that it depends on the vasana. Whatever the new vasana comes in, or the old vasana comes in, this, whatever we have learnt, will not go anywhere, but it will be camouflaged by this vasana. Let us say, if I take my own life as an example, for the first 25 years, I never had any interest towards this. And definitely not to this level what I have today. Okay. So it doesn't mean that it didn't have earlier. It was, but it was not able to manifest. That means it was not able to create into Vyakta. It was in Avyakta state. Okay, due to whatever reason, it will come out, but that probability coming out is, we don't know. That's the problem. So what we have to do is that instead of waiting for many lives to come, if you identify that right now you got it, don't waste time, you first finish it off, because there's no guarantee that in the next life it is going to appear. So when we apply the Patanjali Yoga Sutra also, there is one flaw here, that it will end up with samadhi, and samadhi ends in this life, it doesn't go beyond. So you'll be a realized person, but apart from that you don't get anything, you'll not get liberated. But one good news about samadhi or realization is you'll never be born as a human, so that you are cut, but then you are not liberated. So it is said, is what you have read is correct, that it might even regress back, because when we say regressing, it doesn't mean that you're not coming to the 7th step, but you will have to wait before that manifestation happens. Like in my case, it happened after I quit the job. When I was working, I was having a spiritual mindset to work. So the team were very happy, the management was happy, and everything was happy. They sold the company, and hence I had to quit. But then a good prudence dawned in me that I should not be working ever after. And that was a very good samskara, or rather that was a very good sankalpa. And that happened because maybe in the past lives I have done so much of good karma that this appeared. This had a vyakta. While others thought me I am a fool for not going back to work. But I have never in my 8 years felt even for a day I did a mistake of not going back to work. Okay, so that is part of my karma, a good karma that has never allowed me to go back to work. I don't want to say that, okay, it should have happened 10 years ago, it would have been better, or 20 years ago, it would have been better, because then I wouldn't have been married also. That would have been even more better. But like that, if I were to think again, it brings back wrong karmas. So instead, I should be so grateful that the karma never allowed me to work from 2013 onwards in a company as an employee, which is the best ever thing that could happen. Because 50% of the problem is gone, straightforward. Now, so I have only to work on the remaining 50%. So now if I regress, let's say if I don't liberate this life, what is that it is going to happen? It's going to not make me further as a human being for sure. But I will not be able to liberate. I have to liberate in some other realm of existence. So instead of wasting time, I can apply any one of these tool and completely get liberated and then be done with it. So then there is no regression, because if I think that I'll go step-by-step approach and I will do this and that, what I'm trying to do is that I'm assuming there are next lives and that is going to come, and nobody can really predict how it is going to come or ever it is going to come, because it is situational based. So if the situation doesn't come, then nothing I can do about it. Like, you know, I had, if not for the situation of out of body experience, I don't think so I would have been ever be able to get this at all. And that too had happened when I was in my 25th year. But only from 2013, that means 1996 to 2013, not much progress, even though it has been good when compared to any other person, but not much progress from 2013 to 2021 now. And not much progress if I were to consider from the time we have met and we started this class. So I treat that 2018 when we met and till today, in these 3 years, It's been very good because of three of you. So if I do that, why should I miss the bus now? Is the question. For what reason? So even though there is no regression, but why should somebody wait?
Yeah, see, it is a very good example what you give, because you are the walk the talk here. 2013, you got this idea of no point in continuing the samsara of Narpurita. So, like Vyadha, Vyadha also got a moksha, because whatever he used to do, that butcher, he used to do with the particular sense of dharma there. He did that and he got moksha. With that assumption, if I go, you are coming out of samsara. The first assumption is you lost the job, immediately you decided, yes, this is for good, let me follow only that. It is not a part for me. Now you know that how to manage your family, you are managing it. Now one fine day you may decide this is also not required for me, right? If you go more deeper and deeper, when your family they are independent, for example your son and all that, then you may be even come out of also, right? That may be possible.
Yeah, that is
in
possible.
That case you will be maybe in the vanaprastha. That means a minimum context till his education is over. You will be with him afterwards. You will try to reduce that as well. So ultimately, sannyasa here means it is in the mind. You should not have any of these connections.
Correct.
That means earlier we were discussing you can continue to work in corporate, you can continue to earn and all that. For what purpose? Because again, mind is occupied with that earning and doing spending that. After earning, you have to spend, or you have to accumulate and protect it. Everything is a problem.
No, that is correct. But the thing is, like,
similarly, what I am doing now, see, I am. See, you are continuously giving that message to you, me directly or indirectly. You are going somewhere. You are doing study of Veda. You are trying to understand, and you are in the your legs are in two boats. One is that side, one is this side. What is this? Like that, you are also thinking about me. I know that very much. You are concerned about me. The thing is, this is also a samsara. Because sometimes when you see that, when you are hungry, you have to eat. If you don't eat, you are a problem. Hunger, if you die, you will have one more janma. Similarly, for acquiring some, either from knowledge or money or whatever, you want to acquire due to some reason and go through that, then other day you said, you spit back, then you will understand, and then you eat that. So, when you reach that stage quickly, that means you are away from samsara. Whatever, in the mind-wise or body-wise, acquiring something, okay, now you don't like it, then throw it out. The remaining is nothing but a pure. That's a pure atma there. Or yourself is pure mind. That is the part of this sadhana chatustaya and reaching to the next level, right?
correct.
I don't know, I articulate properly, but in my mind it is very clear what I am talking.
Yeah, that is correct. See, if you are
Ultimately, leave everything. That is called jnana, moksha.
Yeah, see, the thing is, yesterday somebody had called me, so I was telling her that I gave her as an example. One example I gave her. She comes to meditation every Saturday and Sunday. She's working for Honeywell. She's not able to quit the job due to family compulsions, and she wanted to achieve liberation in this life. So I gave her one test to do. Okay, so I said to her, do you take bath? She said, yes, obviously I take bath. Can you take bath with clothes on? She said, no. So you're going to remove the cloth? Yes. So have you observed your body? She says, yes, every day I observe. Okay, very good. So now the mind is clothed in such a way that it cannot see consciousness. So just like when we go for a physical bath, we remove every single piece of the cloth, because that is not going to make any bath possible, because you have to clean it. Similarly, we have to, in the mind, let go of the clothing which we have, which is covered, to not to see the consciousness. So basically, we have to become nude, Digambara, in the mind, so that the consciousness light reflects perfectly on that without any distortion or dust particle or whatever it is. Now, but to tell you that is that if we were to do it, you don't have to go anywhere. You can be with your people, but you will not be attached. That's all what we are trying to achieve. We are not trying to run away from anywhere, because there is no point. Because if you run away anywhere also, you are with Jana Samuha. Whether this Jana Samuha or another Jana Samuha, it doesn't really make any difference. So what we are making as a difference here is, when you say Vanaprastha Ashrama and Sannyas Ashrama, is that we are cutting out the inner madness or this inner clothing what is there. Outer clothing we are able to remove. When we sweat or something like that, we are not able to enjoy the clothing, and we change the clothing, or we go to a bath and we change the clothing. We don't wear back whatever was worn before taking a bath. Similarly, what we can do here is that we can see that since I am not willing to change the dress, or say put back the same dress, which it was my dress only, it is not somebody's dress, it was my dress. So if we cannot do that spitting in the same plate, can we wear the same clothing after bath? You will not be able to wear that cloth, even though it is my own, just had worn 10 minutes ago before I went to bath. Now after bath, no matter whoever says, I will not be able to wear that cloth. Similarly, consciousness doesn't want this body and mind. I, being the consciousness, have madly fallen in love with this body and mind. So the sooner I get rid of this, the better it is, because Satchidananda has got nothing to do with this body and mind. So if I can do that, just like the cloth, and that's it, I don't have to see, just we are all wearing clothes. Are we running away anywhere? I don't think so. So we don't have to run anywhere. It's not like we have to leave everything and go somewhere. No, you don't have to physically go anywhere. But what we're trying to do is, through this 9 principles what Shankara has given, is that you are happy established inwards, rather happy established outwards. Outwards is condition oriented, inwards is no condition. So you are able to interact with the world without any kind of strain, because there is absolutely nothing to be done. Just like we put the dress in the washing machine, but we don't get emotional about it, right? It is going to into the washing machine, so that person shirt and trousers and all other things is going to go with soap and all that. So should he get perturbed about it? It is my shirt, and how this can go into a tumble wash or whatever wash we have put there. Similarly, we don't have to get worked up with the name and form and the movement. We can just watch, be a witness, sakshi, and not react to anything. In that way, you can still be working. All the 3 of you can still be working. I'm not asking or I'm not suggesting any one of you to quit the job, even though my way of talking is that I'm comparing with myself the way I have tried to do it, and that is one of the way which I felt 50% of the problem gets resolved. But that doesn't mean that 3 of you should do that, but it is better. I mean, when we have everything in life, and then it's good to leave something so that the other half time can be spent on this. Let's say that's not possible, because in my case, my wife is highly supportive, because she's also on the same path. My son is also highly supportive, because he's also on the same path. So I cannot ask anything more than this. So I am very much grateful, filled with gratitude to both of them, who are serving me both in their dedication towards what they are doing, and also helping me to experience on a daily basis, and what they expect from me is to share the knowledge and help them. So I can't expect anything more than this kind of living. But just because I am fortunate enough, it shouldn't be that I force somebody to do the same thing. It need not be like that, but it is what I can say, recommended. But if that doesn't work out, doesn't mean that you cannot liberate. You can liberate, even with your jobs being there, family being there, everything being there. You can get into self-realization. When you are self-realized, you yourself will come to know what to do. So self-realization in this life is possible for all of us. You're just realizing yourself. Who is this self? That's all. It's not that something we are trying to do different. So I'm sorry, but if I have been harsh on this, that's what I feel. But then I was trying to...
No, you are not harsh. You are not harsh. You are perfect. From your angle, whatever you are, you have enough patience. Whatever you are actually a true practicer of spirituality, I can feel it. That is there. But we are the seekers, right? During that time, what happens? All this doubt comes, and these doubts we are trying to clarify. Otherwise, I think what you have been talking about, this jnanam route, is fully convincing, because you are practicing, you are experiencing, and maybe there can be a slight, some adjustments based on our individual mind. That is okay. Otherwise, I think the major part is fully, perfectly okay, what you are talking and what you are practicing. And also, I think we are following.
Yep. So I'm...
It's 9:30 already.
Yeah, it's already 9:30, so we close it. So what I want to clarify to all the three of you is, you don't have to quit job. What you have to do is quit the job in the mind. That's all what you need to do. And just continue doing whatever you're doing.
Yes.
But the recommended is...
Okay, with this, maybe tomorrow we can continue?
Yes. We'll continue tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good day.
Yeah, good day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.